Hi, Chris Belfer here. In this video, I really want to talk about being selfish. I've had several conversations actually with clients in the last little while about, what it means to be selfish. And we're in this point where people are always like giving, 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 and they're not really not taking anything for themselves. And so a real difference between let's analyze it like between selfishness, self-centered, and self-aware. Are you being self-aware, or are you really being selfish or self-centered? Selfishness would be like always putting your needs first, meaning if there was a piece of cake, you would always take that last piece, or that last piece of pie you wouldn't share, you're always the one to take it. That's more that selfishness. You're always putting your needs ahead of somebody else's. Maybe you have to pick up your kids and it's always you that picks it up, and your spouse or significant other or the other parent doesn't take their share, right? Self-centered would be more of um, like putting, how that would work would be an example. Like you're kind of putting yourself in that situation, so you kind of add some empathy. Whereas if someone lost their job, you're like, you feel sorry, like, wow, that sucks that you really lost your job, you know, um, but I'm really lucky I got a raise. And so instead of being, empathetic for that situation, you're almost like kind of putting a little bit of a dig on that self. And that's more that self centeredness. It's like another example would be, say someone's mother's going through cancer, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that your mother's going through cancer. That's really terrible. I'm sure you're taking her to the treatments, and it's taking a lot of your time. But does that mean you're not going to be carpooling this month, right? For our children, right? And so there you go. Is like you're putting your own uh, thoughts. You're not really being empathetic for that situation. You're kind of like saying, "Oh, that's so sad," but how does that affect me? What about me? Me. So it's like you're almost that victim. And the difference really is that the idea of self awareness. Self awareness is recognizing that, sure, you're putting your needs or other people's needs in front of yours, but you're also really important. This is what's key for people is that, especially parents, especially mothers, there's many mothers I've talked to, they're always putting the needs of their family first. And everyone's like, oh, that's what you have to do. And it's no, really, because that's almost the point of their being selfish of your time as the person, right? You need to be more self-aware of your time, and equally you need to give back to you. So that's a you day, a me day, and that's spending time doing something that you need to done, whether it's meditation or just a day off, just or you could just do nothing, right? It's having that self-awareness. And why is that important? And I've said this analogy before, I'm sure you've heard it before as well. It's kind of like, the flying on a plane. When the steward says, like, make sure you always put your mask on first before you put it on your children. Why? Well, if you're not 100%, how can you keep giving to your family, your work, your friends, right? If your tank is now empty because you've given up all your gas to everybody else, and just giving and giving and giving, there's no gas left for you. At the end is like you're gonna suffer, but they're gonna suffer because there's no gas. And the other thing is what's happened is like now you're almost like half a tank or quarter tank, is like you're not fully present with your kids or your spouse or your family. So they only have a part of you. You're best to give to yourself, and so when you give to your family, they're getting 100% of you. And so as much as that almost sounds like, wow, that's what that self-awareness looks like. It's not about time, right? It's about quality of time. Your kids will sense that like you're distracted. You don't really want to be playing with them, or you don't really want to be in the room with them, but you feel like, oh, that's what I got to do. And it's really taking that back and saying, no, I really need to do this for me, for them. So the idea is really just about being there for you, taking time for you, whether that's meditating, yoga or any kind of other practice. You want to just knit or read a book or, whatever you love doing, going for a bike ride, exercising, whatever it is that you want to do. It's important that you give to yourself too. That's another video. If you like it, love it, give it a thumbs up. I would love those. Subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Leave a comment, leave a message of maybe something you'd love for me to talk about. As always, I'm going to leave a comment or my calendar if you are interested in learning more about what I do or learning more about me. Feel free to check out my website. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon.